What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what's moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 4.2%, 672 the low, 705 the high, and 36 million shares being traded. So a little bit low for the volume, but nonetheless, market is really moving higher, largely because of optimism associated to big companies putting out their earnings this week, and also this. But I've already brought this up in a dedicated NIO video. Very productive conversation between the States and China. So the market's seeing this as a good first step towards hopefully some actual deal. At the end of the day, there was also some things that did come out associated to NIO. So it looks like a lot of pictures of them already starting to hire. So this, I believe, was news that did come out the Thursday or Friday last week, that they were going to hire about 1,000 plus new employees. And that's just for ramping up on production for them to hit targets, Q4 targets. So at the end of the day, this is good and they're wasting no time. And then speaking of Q4, you did also have this come out. So NIO's internal meeting, William reaffirms Q4 profit targets must be met. And so NIO really set the bar high for Q4. So not only do they have to have delivery production numbers, but they have to hit obviously break even. That's what was reaffirmed time and time again. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. And one thing I find rather unique about NIO is that there's virtually no secrets. Everything comes out one way or another, whether it be in a day or 2 days, but there seems to be nothing secret at NIO. So for instance, even internal meetings, there's articles about them. So just cut out the middleman. I think NIO should just have every single board member, every single meeting that they ever do for management, just open it up to shareholders. We're going to all find out one way or another. Yeah, so in general, I do agree that Q4 targets and profitability targets must be met. If not, you are going to see things get very, very bad for NIO. But nonetheless, reaffirming it right now is always optimistic if you ask me. Looking at shorts, right now they are returning about 97,000 shares. So with NIO being green and shorts returning, it does kind of validate today's green day. So definitely good stuff. 12% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 166.03 million shares overall being shorted. DTC is still fairly high, sitting at 1.97 days. Does signal that shorts are relatively overextended. Unfortunately, with the whole AWS type of issue that is happening in the broader market, we don't have any options data. So clearly goes to show the magnitude of everything that is touched. Even two of the brokers that I actually do use, I can't even access them. It doesn't show anything. So rather stupid. Luckily enough, I don't need to liquidate or sell out any of my positions today, or else I'd be kind of relatively annoyed. But nonetheless, no options data for today. These are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market. So this is why I like to analyze where volume does come from. So not only are shorts returning, but you also do see some institutions selling. So it kind of shows a little bit more conflicting data. One was done early in the pre-market at 3 a.m. The other one was just after the bell at 9:50. And so one was for 128,000, the other one for 114. So big money is not really the main culprit on why NIO is moving higher. Rather, it is algorithmic trading. So most likely the algos are picking up on this news right here, and most likely the profitability kind of reaffirming that. So of course algos are pushing it higher because of that, in my opinion. So I'll go over the flow in a second, but these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. So dark pool is often enough used by shorts and hedge funds. So of course, as why I showed you, shorts aren't really doing all that much. So it is fair to assume that hedge funds are kind of doing the majority of the dark pool transactions today. A couple big ones, 1.19 and then 1.12. So again, goes to show that hedge funds are fairly active today, and I guess indirectly they are one of the big reasons why NIO is also moving higher over and above algos, which I'll again talk on in a second. Right now with it at 704, it is above this key pivot. So as I've mentioned, there's two things that NIO has really struggled with. One was this pivot point of $7. Other one was this R1 of $7.83. So if it's able to hold and stay above that $7 range, that is going to be fairly optimistic for the next couple of trading days and for the foreseeable future. So just watch for that $7 range to hold. Aside from that though, quickly popping over here, it is still successfully staying above that 50-day moving average. So Friday, it kind of came close to that. Thursday, it bounced off of that. So we are seeing a nice V-shaped recovery. What is going to be coming up though is that 50-day moving average. So it's kind of bouncing off of that a little bit. But if it's able to really get above that, then essentially you're going to see some good momentum build. There's not really much coming out for articles aside from what I really brought up. And shorts aren't really doing too much lately. So you can kind of see that they're just random all over the place. And this is something, again, I did bring up in my video yesterday, that they're slowly increasing, but then they return. So they're just doing something random stuff. And in my opinion, I think bigger picture, what they're trying to do is to slow NIO down at key levels. So I'm rather surprised to see shorts return about 97,000 shares when NIO right now is on a key pivot as we kind of do, or as I do this video. But nonetheless, looking at the market position, you see a lot more willing buyers, for instance, than yesterday. So definitely good to see. And if it's able to get above that, let's say 714-ish, then you could see a very nice push to at least that 739. So again, if you're wanting to do dollar cost average, swing trade, or whatever else, just kind of take note of that. But aside from that though, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, but most likely I think it's kind of overdue to get at least one or two coming down the pipeline. So that in among itself could really push things higher. So let me know your thoughts on NIO in the comments below. One thing I do want to bring up though is that we did actually get some pretty good data coming out from China. So quickly going over here, so this is the States. So pulling up China, we did get a lot of key data Sunday evening. So GDP came in 4.8. This is year over year, 4.8 versus 4.9. Retail sales came in flat. We also had unemployment coming in flat. So a lot of this does really justify potential stimulus, and that's going to be something that does kind of and might be announced this week. So that could be a pretty good catalyst as well. So something to keep in mind. Maybe that is also why some hedge funds might be getting in, because they might be kind of hearing some whispers before it is officially announced. One thing I do want to always mention though is NIO right now, especially where it's at, is on the verge of a very nice push higher, in my opinion, as what I kind of have mentioned. But one way to really benefit is looking at and doing options. So realistically, if you feel, let's say $9 is kind of on the table, that does represent a 28.23% upside from where we are now. But let's say you assume it's going to go to $9 by throwing up January, for instance. I know a lot of people say it's going to go to 100, but realistically, if $9 is on the table, you could make a solid 79.03% just by doing a long call, or you can kind of increase that by doing a long call spread or so forth. But take the time, research options. They can be very profitable and very beneficial. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.